everyone, agriculture is defined as the practice of growing crops or raising animals here on the High Plains. Agriculture is a key part of what makes this area flourish.
And in this special, we're going to share with you some stories of key aspects of ag and how they impact all of us here on the High Plains. At the end of May at the Amarillo Civic Center, many were able to witness a historic inaugural graduation.
The Texas Tech School of Veterinary Medicine marks the first in the program's history as 61 students walked across the stage and became the first graduating class. KAMR Local 4's Princess Bryant has more from the graduation ceremony.
The state of Texas has not seen an inaugural class for a veterinary program in over 100 years. According to officials with Texas Tech University School of Veterinary Medicine, 95% of the graduates will work in rural and regional communities.
When we were being created, they said, what is it that we're going to focus on? And we said rural and regional communities. So we set out and we recruited students with life experiences in rural and regional communities. Our program is around how to be a veterinarian in rural and regional communities. And now they're graduating and they're going to those communities.
While being part of the first graduating class, students say there were some struggles, but also many relationships that were built.
I just don't think there's a dynamic out there where all 61 students just get along so well. And you do feel like siblings. You have your little fights and stuff, but overall, I think we were the perfect class to pull this off.
Dr. Dalton Decker will be head south of San Antonio as he begins his career.
It's a humbling experience. We're making, our dreams come true, as well as, Texas Tech and the community's dream come true of, building the first class, first school type deal.
Dr. Jaden Arthur has experienced firsthand living in a small town that does not have any access to veterinary care. Now that she walked the stage, she will be able to enjoy a full circle moment as she works at the clinic she used for her animals growing up.
Watched my first abdominal surgery on a horse there when I was 13 years old, and it happened to be on my horse. But just that first exposure and knowing those veterinarians whenever I was able to go on rotations and go back and see them, I still felt like a little kid in face of these giants of the industry.
There were many state representatives present to congratulate each of the graduates. Governor Greg Abbott was one of the speakers for the ceremony. He expressed the magnitude of the day.
Being first requires pushing beyond past limits. It requires breaking down barriers that opens up the door of opportunity for others to be able to walk through in future generations. You have done that.
In Amarillo, Princess Bryant, KAMR Local 4 News.
Princess, thank you. This program is only the second of its kind in the state.
The only other veterinary school in the state of Texas is the Texas A&M program, which was founded over 100 years ago. Now, with the need for food assistance growing, the High Plains Food Bank is now facing a major setback.
KAMR Local 4's Blas Guerrero has more on how the food bank is reacting to funding cuts and how they are stepping up to meet the growing needs.
The High Plains Food Bank is seeing about 13,000 households per month in the Panhandle. However, that mission has become even more challenging after the U.S. Department of Agriculture canceled about $500 million in food purchases nationwide.
It's a channel, a food channel, one of the three that we receive food from here at the food bank. Makes up about a quarter of our inventory total, and so that really translates to about 13 truckloads or so of food this year. That
about 23% of the food at the bank comes from the USDA, with 71% coming from donations. The food bank has seen an increase of 31% in families seeking help compared to last year. In response, the food bank launched a new fundraising campaign.
So we are asking, everyone to help us reach a financial goal, $250,000 to help begin the process of bringing, food in that we were going to receive. And also we want to engage, our food donors to help on the other side of that. It takes all of these channels really to working together to do what we do every day.
Lower supplies could cut into what partner agencies can distribute.
The problem we run into is when we start talking to our agencies and we're saying, hey, we're not going to have quite as much this month, which not necessarily puts them in a bind, but it restricts what they can distribute through their organization.
Now, essential items such as protein, cereal, and canned goods are in high demand. Seniors, especially those on fixed incomes, are feeling the strain of rising food prices, many of whom are reluctant to seek help.
The High Plains Food Bank expects the number of households seeking assistance to keep climbing as summer approaches, and they're preparing for increased demand throughout the rest of 2025. And now there are many businesses that produce local ag products on the High Plains, and there are also many businesses that support local.
Mari caught up with 4B Meats and Chef Ron from Sunday's Kitchen to talk about the importance of using locally produced ag products.
Ronnie Granger is the executive chef at the local restaurant Sunday's Kitchen. You might also know him as Chef Ron and have seen him on Today in Amarillo on Tuesday mornings.
Sunday's Kitchen is a family-owned restaurant. We started as a catering company a few years back, and then we knew that we wanted to do more, and so we started a restaurant.
Sunday's Kitchen is one of the many businesses in the area that is local and supports local.
For me personally, I love to be a part of that process. I love to be selling those particular goods, because if we don't support them, then we lose them, and I don't want to lose them. I want to keep them here in the Texas Panhandle, providing food for Sunday's Kitchen and other local restaurants and shops.
Sunday's Kitchen uses select cuts from 4B Meats in their menu. 4B Meats is a business that was founded in 2018 by the Borden family in Groover.
It was a small idea that my husband Dustin had. We already had cattle with our black and red Angus cows. We were starting to incorporate the Wagyu bull genetics. And he thought that, hey, wouldn't it be great to ship meat across the United States? And so that's where we started.
Owner and operator of 4B Meats, Brittany Borden, says that by shopping local, you're keeping your dollars home to support neighbors and the communities.
There is a place for big beef and big producers, but they are more concerned about cost effectiveness rather than quality. And that's where your local producers, your small mom and pops come into place. Because they want you to get the best experience, best customer service, and that's why it's so important to shop local.
Chef Ron shares one last message.
One of the things I do want to tell Amarillo and the community that's surrounding, strive to shop as much as you can and eat and dine locally. Strive to support these people and do it yourself as well, because these are things that we can't lose.
In Amarillo, Mari Farrell, KAMR Local 4 News.
Now, other restaurants and shops that 4B Meats sells to is Salt, Cellar 55, Garrisol, Flying Pig, Mercantile, and more.
Other ways to support our local ag producers are at farmers markets and storefronts. For more information about Sunday's Kitchen and 4B Meats, head to myhighplains.com.
Now, the 2025 Hemphill County Texas A&M AgriLife Beef Cattle Conference took place in Canadian earlier in April.
Coming up, we have more on the conference and this year's theme.
At the end of April, the 2025 Hemphill County Texas A&M AgriLife Beef Cattle Conference took place in Canadian.
Our very own Jack has more on the conference and how this year's theme reflects the optimism following the 2024 Smokehouse Creek wildfire.
You know, our theme this year is happy days are here again. We're happy about the rain. We're happy about these strong beef cattle markets. We're happy about all these people that love the beef cattle industry.
The 2025 Hemphill County Texas A&M AgriLife Beef Cattle Conference is the 10th anniversary of the Beef Cattle Conference. Andy Holloway, County Extension Agent for the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension in Hemphill County, says the conference started in 2015 with 85 people and has grown immensely since then.
This year we've got over 800 people here, close to 900 actually. I was just informed that there's people here from South Africa and also Australia. So all the Plains states are represented, 25 U.S. states, and over 100 of the Texas counties are right here in the Texas Panhandle today.
He says the atmosphere is a lot different this year than last year after the Smokehouse Creek fire.
It's pretty difficult at that time. We were still raw and trying to know where to go and how to recover. You know, in the last few weeks, we've had some good rains, and it's green and pretty, and so we're happy.
The event will feature nationally renowned beef cattle experts, ranchers, range and cattle specialists, meteorologists, and more to give insight.
This is an opportunity to learn and expand your knowledge about the beef cattle industry, where we've been, where we're going, and what we can do to do a better job of raising meat. And that's the end product, and that's what the people want, and that's what we want to do a better job of.
Holloway says after the two-day conference, he hopes people can take away how to be more successful and learn how to be more profitable.
He says there is a lot of strong impacts that come from the conference. Those who also attended were able to enjoy Texas' premier agribusiness trade show, which showcases the latest innovations and services for the beef cattle industry, according to officials.
Now, Texas A&M AgriLife Hemphill County Beef Cattle Conference was held at the end of April, and one part of it was a presentation for Rancher of the Year.
This year, it was awarded to Kathy Price, a cattle rancher in Lipscomb County. Jack has more from Price on the win and what it means to be a rancher in a historically male-dominated industry.
To receive the award of Rancher of the Year, I was just really surprised at that, and my family kept it all secret, and my committee, and it's such an honor and so humbling.
Price says to be recognized for your efforts is an honor.
Whether it's in range management or the cattle management, just all the things that are involved in it, it's truly an honor.
Price says she has spent her whole life in the cattle business, as both her grandpas were ranchers as well as her dad, and so growing up in ranching, she had no qualms about being a female.
We worked cattle, we gathered cattle, we fixed fence, we ran hay equipment. I was the oldest. Well, my little brother was 7 years younger than me, so me and my sister, we were the hired hands.
Price adds one thing has changed from back when she went to college in 1974.
Really wanted to be in the ranch management program at Clarendon. At that time, they didn't take women. So that was really the only thing, but I did not let that slow me down.
Price says the number of young women involved in agriculture now is so much higher because they have that can-do attitude.
And they're accepted, and their parents push them, and their peers, and that's how it ought to be. So.
Price says her advice to women is that if you really want to do ranching, like any other dream, you will find a way.
Now, Price says she's been involved with the Hemphill County Beef Conference since 2016 and says the conference is a positive and uplifting experience. In the past few years, Texas farmers and ranchers have endured historic droughts, high production costs, and low commodity prices. Many are awaiting on the passage of a new farm bill and are wondering how they can make ends meet.
Our sister station's Juliana Washburn spoke with Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller about the creation of a helpline to support mental health in Lubbock farmers.
Work ethic. We're kind of a different breed, you know. We're for the most part introverts. We don't socialize a lot. We stay out on the farm on the tractor 12, 14 hours a day, or in the milking parlor, or horseback, and very proud bunch. We don't often. It's not easy for us to ask for help.
But farmers and ranchers have really needed to see some support after the past few years.
The strain on production agriculture and the mental state of most farmers. It's tough right now, and it's not just cotton farmers, it's across the nation.
Enduring historic droughts, high production costs, and low commodity prices, many not able to make ends meet. Texas Agricultural Commissioner Sid Miller says he saw the need for mental health resources.
You know, what we had just didn't fit a farming community.
Those farmers and ranchers especially needing someone who just gets it. The folks on the other end of the call trained to talk about mental health in agriculture specifically.
Maybe they're the 7th or 8th generation farmer or rancher, and they've missed 3 crops, and the bank is, calling the note, and they're going to lose the family heritage.
After 2 years, the AgriStress helpline is up and running in 10 states. They've helped over 250 people, but Miller's hoping it can reach further than that.
The biggest challenge we have is getting the word out.
And make it so farmers and ranchers know they're not alone.
We're all kind of in this right now together, and we need each other to stay positive, and there'll be a better day come down the road, and just stick with it and do what you do.
According to the National Rural Association, farmers are 3.5 times more likely to die by suicide than a general population.
And if you or someone you know is struggling, you can call or text 833-897-2474.
The Wildorado Cattle Company is a local business that is student-led.
Coming up, we'll introduce you to those students and how that cattle company
Welcome back from break. Wildorado Cattle Company is a local business that is high school student-led based out in Wildorado, Texas.
Mari was able to learn more about their seed stock cattle operation.
The Wildorado Cattle Company raises registered Black Angus cattle. The idea started off as a way to set Wildorado apart from other schools in the Panhandle.
It is student-led and operated. They're the ones that are making genetic decisions, the breeding decisions, monitoring the finances, setting budgets, everything that goes into running a company.
The company has 9 departments that specialize in a variety of tasks to keep the operation running smoothly. Each department has a student director and a team of students. The records director of Wildorado Cattle Company, Ainsley Matt, found her calling for managing records before she entered high school.
My brother actually was in this when they started, and I would show up to the ranch whenever we had it at the ranch, and they'd be like, "You're gonna come help." And I got into 7th grade, and they're like, "I think you would be really good at records," and so I tried it out and I fell in love with it.
Merchandise director of Wildorado Cattle Company, Kaylin Wydell, said that while working in this company, she has gained time management and communication skills.
I was very shy and scared to talk to people, but going to Angus convention and having to talk to all the adults and big cattle people, it definitely taught me how to have a real conversation.
Wildorado ISD agriculture science teacher Brody Russell explains that the income earned through the sales goes back into next year's operation. People can also donate to the Wildorado Cattle Company Scholarship Fund that is facilitated through Opportunity Plan and Canyon.
As these students graduate, they get to apply for a Wildorado Cattle Company scholarship. These kids aren't getting paid for this. They're doing it for the experience, working through school. The last 4 graduating classes, there's been about $50,000 paid out in scholarships. This year will probably be close to $30,000 in scholarships paid out.
In Wildorado, Mari Farrell, KAMR Local 4 News.
Square Mile Community Development is serving the community and those in need with their urban farming project.
I was able to visit one of their urban farms and have more about their project.
Square Mile Community Development is a local nonprofit that was formed in 2016.
Myself and some other community leaders formed it to bring some kind of renewal type of projects into the community and see neighborhood transformation and really work on how do we bring in economic development, food resources, education.
One of the ways Square Mile is helping the community is by growing produce in their 2 urban farms on 6th Street and the St. Peter's Episcopal Church. Urban farming is the practice of growing produce within urban areas. The idea for this project came to be when officials with Square Mile realized there is a lack of grocery stores in North Amarillo neighborhoods.
We could start providing fresh produce into neighborhoods that didn't have access. And so we started with our first farm over on 6th Street in San Jacinto. And it was just an easy way to start growing food and making it available to the community to help with nutrition and just help with a better quality of life.
The urban farms sustain themselves by providing produce to local markets and restaurants. Former program director of Square Mile, Donna Dorman, says a 4x6 plant bed can produce anywhere between 5 to 7 pounds of salad greens, and it can regrow within 2 weeks.
When you keep that on a rotation, that really gives you an idea of how many people you would be able to feed when you're providing not only for restaurants and markets, but also for those that are food insecure. Then it really is great to know that you're doing the most good in a small space.
The executive director of Square Mile, Brady Clark, says anyone interested in volunteering can contact them through social media, their website, or email.
We usually do farm days on Wednesday mornings, Thursdays, and then we have some volunteer community days on Saturdays where we have everybody from church groups to different student groups that come out and help us with whatever's going on at the farms.
In Amarillo, Mari Farrell, KAMR Local 4 News.
Produce that grows at the urban farms consists of arugula, herbs, squash, and other plants and salad mixes.
And through the Square Mile Urban Farm Project, they have been able to help and launch other market gardens and urban farms in the region and as far away as Uganda.
Coming up, Daniel Sell is a local farmer who turned his passion into a way to teach.
How he uses social media to talk about farming and his experiences. Daniel Sell is a local farmer who turned his passion into a way of teaching others about farming in the High Plains.
Sel is a social media influencer on Instagram and TikTok with a combined 180,000 followers. KAMR Local 4's Kaylee Hanna traveled to Booker, Texas to learn about Sel's farm and his experience being an influencer.
Daniel Sel owns a farm in Booker, Texas, where he works alongside his dad.
I started farming in 2017, took on my own land, and Dad's been kind of by my side the whole way, and it's been nice to make my own decisions but have someone backing me or that I can call and ask questions.
The Sel's farm grows sorghum and hard red winter wheat here on the high plains of Texas and Oklahoma.
We've been able to grow our operation for the past 3 years consecutively, adding acreage to our farm, and that's important to me because I have to grow to be able to support my family, and that's been the main goal here these last few years, is just continue adding acreage to our farm.
Sel's ancestors settled on their farmland over 100 years ago.
There's a lot of weight. You know, it worries me sometimes when I think about my past ancestors. You know, I'm sure I'll do well, but it's a little bit of a heavy weight on my shoulders because I don't want to fail them, but you kind of just have to take it day by day.
As a fifth-generation farmer, Sel has understood how the agriculture industry works from a young age, and the farm will stay in the Sel's family for generations to come, with his son already getting a feel of the land and a new addition on the way.
I love taking them out on the tractor. I love taking my wife, and she's expecting as well another baby here, and so it's going to be great to have the whole family in the tractor or combine and just kind of have that assurance that everyone's there.
Sel is a local farmer turned social media influencer, turning his passion into a way to show others what it's like to be a farmer on the high plains.
It's fun showing people how we farm in the high plains versus, like, say, the corn belt, of just different types of farming. A lot of people don't realize that we leave out a third of our acreage every year just to help that ground recuperate and build up soil moisture. In fact, I've talked to people in Russia before about farming, and it's difficult translating it, but once you do that, you kind of get to see what they do versus what we do.
According to Sel, being a social media influencer has helped with the networking aspect of farming.
We just finished a campaign with Bayer Crops and Sciences, worked with them to show people the truth about glyphosate. Now, it is a dangerous herbicide just like any other herbicide is, but as long as you use it correctly and the way they tell you to do in the label, I feel it's truly safe. So that was an interesting deal. I know everyone doesn't agree with that, but that's how we use it, and glyphosate is an extremely important tool to pretty much any farm.
In Booker, Kaylee Hanna, KAMR Local 4 News.
Thanks for joining us for our High Plains Agriculture Special highlighting the importance of agriculture here in the Panhandle. I'm Mari Farrell.
And I'm Jack Kessler. We'll see you next time.